Africa Forum partnership between Brand Leadership and Brand South Africa harks back to 2010 when we got together with Brand Leadership in the forum to really discuss issues of Africa's competitiveness and how countries on the continent, by improving their fundamentals, can add to the strength of Brand Africa in total. We decided to be a sponsor because essentially for us, the health of Brand Africa as a continent is important for the strength and the health of Brand South Africa. If countries on the continent improve in terms of their image and their reputation, the same holds for South Africa. And therefore, our prosperity is inextricably linked to that of the other countries on the continent. And so for us, it was a natural fit, and there was a natural connection to really pursue such a partnership. Last year's forum resulted in obviously great interest, not only from local South Africans, but a number of international speakers, but also, more interestingly, countries on the continent which are also pursuing their own branding initiatives. Countries such as Ghana, as well as Kenya, came and participated. We had speakers who came, who spoke on a number of topics relevant to the Brand Africa Forum, and the report we produced out of that, I think, has gone a long way in getting people to start understanding why building a stronger Brand Africa is important for Brand South Africa. Well, one of the things we learned was that we need to really focus on these discussions being more and more about the continent, and to that effect, you need to make sure that you have more speakers coming on from the continent, but also that you need to create more media outlets for these particular stories on the continent. And it is for that reason that you will see that this year we also seeking to bring in media from the continent to be able to tell the stories that we will be generating here. But more importantly, in terms of the lineup of speakers, you will see that we are bringing in quite a number of renowned speakers who have either written or spoken very widely about the continent. And I think those are some of the learnings that we had. I can give you examples of Dr. Dambisa Moyo, as again she's coming back. Also in the same way, Dr. Vijay Mahajan, who has written the book called Africa Rising. That is our way of trying to ensure that our discussions are not only discussions by South Africans talking about Africa, but to get more involvement from the continent itself, as well as people who have actually written and spoken, as I said, widely about Africa. Well, some of those stories will be around the strides that are being made on the continent in terms of democratization, strides that are being made in terms of increased democratization. If you go up to North Africa, for an example, the economic transformation that is also happening on the continent. And I think lastly, it's the whole story about how Africa is the next growth frontier in terms of investment, in terms of business, but also in terms of growth for corporate. Those are some of the stories that will be told. Now, in terms of the benefits, as I said, we have a report that we generate after each forum, and I think that will help in terms of disseminating the information. The other benefit, as I said, is being able to spread the message far wider on the continent, and that is as a result of the fact that we will be bringing in journalists from the African continent. And lastly, I think we would hope that the Brand Africa Forum deals very robustly with the issue of competitiveness, but also issues such as governance and what we need to do on the continent to ensure that we are far more competitive as economies. And lastly, that how do we deal with the issue of regional economic integration for the benefit of not only South Africa, but also our neighbors. The report is distributed widely after. Obviously, we'll have it online, but we'll also distribute it at other platforms and engagements that we have throughout the world on the continent, as well as even overseas. So we give it to potential investors. We give it to people who are mainly interested on issues that relate to Africa as the continent, and any other person who is obviously able to access it online.